Cadences in classical music often involve the 5-chord in root position, and composers sometimes embellish this chord to increase tension and attenuate squareness. One common embellishment involves a 4-3 suspension over the tonic or dominant. In this half cadence, scale degree 1 moves as expected to scale degree 7. In this half cadence, however, scale degree 1 still moves to scale degree 7, but only after the bass note of 5 has already arrived. In effect, the arrival chord of the half cadence is still 5, but the expected note is delayed or suspended. The term 4-3 suspension reflects the intervals this figure forms above the bass of 5. Now consider a similar example in which we suspend two notes across the bar line. This double suspension is notated as 6-4 to 5-3. If we adopt a narrow view of the music and focus just on the downbeat, it looks as though we have a 1-6-4 chord. But this analysis doesn't reflect the musical effect of what's happening. If we broaden our perceptual window, it becomes clear that this is simply an embellishment of the dominant chord. This 6-4 sonority has a special name when used at cadences, the cadential 6-4 chord. Despite looking like a 1-6-4, it has dominant function and is often labeled Cad 6-4 or 5-6-4. Because the 4th and 6th over the bass originate as suspensions, they typically resolve down by step and are not doubled. This is especially important with the 4th, which is considered a dissonant suspension in the classical style. In general, double the bass note of a cadential 6-4 chord. Not all progressions, however, prepare the cadential 6-4 as a suspension. In the following example, 2-6 doesn't have any notes in common with the cadential 6-4, such that a suspension is impossible. This fact notwithstanding, the same principle of resolution applies. In a cadential 6-4, the 6th and 4th typically resolve down by step. One common exception involves the 6th moving up by step to become the chordal 7th. The 4th, however, should always resolve down by step. Composers often exploit the tension inherent to the cadential 6-4 chord, as in the opening movement of Beethoven's Second Piano Concerto. Notice how the piano breaks out into a virtuosic flourish over the tense cadential 6-4 chord, before resolving as expected to 5. In fact, this same technique plays out on a larger scale in many concertos of the classical era, the cadenzas of which begin with a cadential 6-4, an expression of heightened tension that demands eventual resolution. This resolution only comes at the very end of the cadenza, often marked with a trill to signal the re-entry of the orchestra.